Yeah, no joke. This silly little movie is my favorite movie of all time. Released in 2012 and distributed by 20th Century Fox, the movie stars Dane DeHaan, Alex Russell, Michael B. Jordan, Ashley Hinshaw, and Michael Kelly. This movie is filmed completely in found footage style and depicts three high schoolers gaining the power of telekinesis. I love everything about this movie. But before we can get into that, I'm going to throw out a spoiler warning. Now, let's get into... A lot of people hate found footage as a genre, often citing movies such as Paranormal Activity, Unfriended, Apollo 18, and Quarantine, though I'll mention that Quarantine is just a terrible American remake of the Spanish film Wreck. Most people say that it's a cheap gimmick for low effort, although I will cite this movie and others as proof that the genre can be done well. Unlike other movies that use found footage as a crutch to easily scare people, this movie knows it's found footage and runs with that idea and mindset. Everything you see is in your face, and you get a better look into the characters than you ever thought possible. There are clever cuts and camera tricks used to show how great found footage can be if done well. Like Andrew hovering the camera around himself when he can't hold it in his hands. Andrew operates the camera near daily, even pointed out by Steve that it can make him seem unapproachable.
You don't feel like it's a little weird, like it puts a barrier between you and everything else?
Andrew constantly feels the need to record, even when doing criminal acts. We see Matt's hesitancy to be on camera shown time and time again, even to the point where he believes filming Casey is going to make her uncomfortable. It also makes sense why some characters acknowledge the camera in the way they do, such as the cheerleader being led to believe Andrew was filming them for ulterior motives, or the bullies finding a new way to harass Andrew, using the camera against him. Some people, myself included at one point, felt the ending was too cinematic with too many angles available. Watching it again, however, helped me realize that some camera angles aren't the best ones you can get, such as a silent black and white security camera or police dash cam. Besides, if you see kids flying around and throwing things at each other, wouldn't you film it too? I think telekinesis is the best superpower ever, and this movie is the main reason I believe it. This movie is constantly upping the ante on what telekinesis can be used for. Even Steve mentions it with the line,
You're always thinking of like new shit that we can do, man. This is insane. I mean,
the character's strengths and weaknesses are established as early as the ball stops and remain consistent. Seriously, who would have thought you could use telekinesis to fly? Andrew is obviously built up to be the one best at the power, with Steve getting the ideas to do more with it. Matt isn't seen as often using the power, almost little to none, which I noticed on recent viewings. There are multiple different explanations one could give. You could say Matt doesn't feel like he needs it, but I think that's kind of debunked by the visual of Matt using his power to stir his drink in the diner scene, only available in the director's cut. I think it's more along the lines of after seeing Andrew throw a truck off the road, he seems more hesitant to use it, rather choosing to call the police.
Are you calling the cops?
You stop! I can't hear them!
Hang up the phone!
Yeah, it's just down past White Prison Bridge.
He's fine, Matt!
Yeah.
He's fine!
Yeah.
Fine, Matt!
Stop! I can't!
And they throw everything in the kitchen sink when it comes to the possibilities. Using it as a shield, using it like a boomerang, flying, juggling, bouncing, stirring, projectiles, pulling, glass shattering, car throwing, and everything else. What is first seen as glee and excitement at getting a unique new ability soon turns to fear and terror. It's cool to see a movie that realistically depicts what teenagers would do with superpowers. Even when out flying, they still do teen things like playing football in the clouds or playing pranks in the supermarket. Using that telekinesis has a natural effect on their bodies through nosebleeds. If you're using your brain to do something it's not naturally suited for, you're going to strain it. They even allude to having headaches as well as being able to hear each other when their power is overused by another. They establish rules to keep damage to a minimum, but that's only after a certain event. Andrew is not set up as a good person. No one is, but I'm giving Andrew his own section. He is given every reason in the world to snap. He has an abusive father, a sick mother, gets bullied by his classmates, and even his cousin to an extent. And it's shown that he doesn't easily trust people to the point where Steve showing him kindness causes him to recede socially and seem distant, afraid that he's going to be made fun of. It's mentioned in the original script that Andrew bought the camera to record his dad being terrible, and it is hinted at in the final film as well, but he then uses it to record everything he, Matt, and Steve can do. He feels the need to record everything as the film goes on, even filming himself actively committing crimes and taking people's cameras at the Space Needle. Andrew doesn't seem thrilled at the idea of participating in the talent show until being convinced by Steve. He's on cloud 9 after his performance, even getting a girl at the after party. Unfortunately, Andrew isn't able to keep her and he isn't prepared to deal with that failure, lashing out at Steve, his dad, and anything else that gets in his way, even a simple spider. Of course, Andrew does have his limits. After the confrontation with Steve that leads to him dying, Andrew immediately cuts the camera. He doesn't record again until Steve's funeral, which could have been anywhere between 1 to 2 weeks later. Even then, Andrew doesn't explicitly show his face, almost as if he can't stand to look at himself in the mirror. He chooses to distance himself from everyone, including Matt.
Get it.
what do you care?
You haven't been returning my calls. Why aren't you returning my calls?
I've been busy.
No, you haven't. Why aren't you returning my calls?
I just don't feel like talking.
Once again, he lashes out at others, like his bully. The only thing he was able to respect his dad for was being a firefighter, and he uses that to attack others. Even during his attack on Seattle, he doesn't really explicitly attack anyone, just people getting in his way, such as police officers trying to intervene in his fight with Matt. No one in this movie is explicitly good. Sure, Richard abuses his son, but he still cares deeply about his wife and hates himself for not being able to do anything, as evidenced by his phone calls with the doctor. Matt is a dork, but he messes with Andrew and teases Casey occasionally, even intentionally ignoring Steve's call about Andrew. Casey messes with Matt, calling him out on weird stuff he says. Everything in this movie builds up to this showdown. This fight is perfect, at least to me. They play to their strengths, with Andrew preferring to keep to a distance, letting his telekinesis do the work for him, while Matt is seen tackling Andrew multiple times and only ever really using his telekinesis in defense, because he knows Andrew is better than him. Anyone who gets in his way gets thrown out of the way, quite literally, and at the last minute, as the police are completely powerless, choosing just to save the people rather than confronting the threat directly. Andrew and Matt's screams are so realistic it hurts. The way Andrew is filled with so much rage and Matt's filled with so much sadness, begging Andrew to stop. He just wants it to end. He doesn't want anyone to get hurt, but he can't stand to see Andrew like this, so he has to make the brutal decision to put Andrew down. Permanently. This shot, I can't really put into words. It's so powerful, and once the threat is dealt with, Matt collapses, knowing this is all his fault. He just had to kill family and one of his best friends. For a split second, I feel like Matt was going to give himself up, and that does happen in the original script, but he realizes he has a promise to keep. We cut to an unknown amount of time later, and Matt shows that he's taking accountability and brings the camera to Tibet, feeling he's kept his promise to Andrew. We then end the movie on a hopeful note that Matt will help people to make up for what he's done.